This is going to be incredibly difficult.
A school district in the metro preparing to close schools. We're hearing from the district about what's behind the decision.
It should be very clear to families why their schools have been chosen for both to potentially close and then also for consolidation.
Millions of Americans are getting relief from student loans, but not everyone is on board with the Biden administration's plan.
It's not really enough for them. They probably need more because of the compounding interest.
And which Broncos starter could get some playing time in the final preseason game?
If he feels as though that he needs some reps to be able to get out there, we'll definitely give those to him.
New at 11. Food trucks will be able to operate in Lodo under new temporary rules starting this weekend. The city says these new rules will be in effect for the next 180 days. Now, the area outlined in blue on this map shows where trucks and push carts will be able to operate. Food trucks will not be able to operate in the central business district, which is that area there in orange. That's because of a city ordinance. But there are some restrictions here. Those food trucks and push carts can only operate in Lodo between 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. on Fridays, Saturdays, and holidays. Up to 7 spots will be available for food trucks to operate in another specific area from 5 a.m. to midnight on Fridays and Saturdays. That area includes Blake from 19th to 20th and on Market from 20th to 21st. Now, food trucks were banned in Lodo last month after a police shooting that injured 6 in a crowd as bars were letting out. The city says the original decision to ban those food trucks and that shooting are not related. The city says it will work with food truck owners to create permanent rules and regulations moving forward. Also new at 11, a man accused of attacking 2 people for speaking Spanish is in the Arapahoe County Jail now. Police arrested Rainy Kosam on several charges. The attack happened about a month ago. Police say he also doused the victims with gasoline and tried to set them on fire. He's in jail on bond and has been ordered to wear GPS monitoring. Parents in Jefferson County will find out today if their child's school could be closing. The district will unveil its recommended list of schools to close or consolidate at a meeting tonight. The district says it's because of low enrollment. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta talked to the district about what's behind the decision.
This is a spot here behind me where Jeffco parents are going to get the news that many of them have been expecting, but of course none of them want to actually hear. This is the reality. Jeffco has building space for 96,000 students, but right now only 69,000 students are filling that space, and that's because of declining enrollment. We have seen this since 2001. We're talking about more than 20 years of continuous decline there, and how many students are showing up to each of these schools, and that's because of declining birth rates, because of the pandemic, maybe even because of families just moving elsewhere because of rising costs. And now officials say it is just too tough to not start making some of these decisions. Just to put it in perspective for you all, 49 of Jeffco's elementary schools have a student population under 250, or they're utilizing less than 60% of their building. But choosing which schools to recommend for closure was about more than just those numbers. The district's chief of strategy told us it's just like figuring out a really tough puzzle, and one that no one really wants to solve at that.
We come into this process believing that nobody wants their schools to close. We don't want schools to close. But unfortunately, we're just in a position with our enrollment and our resources where we can no longer just keep every school open.
And it's important to point out that for anyone watching this morning, if your student's elementary school does end up being one of the ones that are closed, those Jeffco elementary schools are only about 1.3 miles away from each other, with the exception of Conifer and Evergreen. So your student won't necessarily have to travel across the county or super far to get to their new school. The list that's coming out today, it's not the final one. The final list is going to come out in November, and school closures, those wouldn't go into effect until next school year. In Golden, I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Now, we spoke with Jeffco's superintendent about the possibility of closing schools just before the school year started. She told us then the smaller schools aren't giving kids all the opportunities they deserve.
And so if we're able to combine some schools and have a more robust enrollment, then we solve issues like having split grade levels where second and third graders are in a classroom together, where we have part-time enrichment and electives opportunities for students like art, music, PE.
District leaders say closures won't be limited to elementary schools, and they will likely have to look at closing some middle and high schools as well. We also talked to the Jeffco Teachers Union. It hopes the district has a plan for teachers as well as other staff at the schools that close. In a statement, the union is proposing using the closed schools in ways to help the community, like turning them into community centers or affordable housing. We'll have much more on this story tonight on Denver 7 News at 4 and 5 o'clock.
I made a commitment that would provide student debt relief, and I'm honoring that commitment today.
President Joe Biden says his student loan forgiveness announcement is life-changing relief. He made the announcement yesterday, canceling some debt for millions of Americans. But not everyone is happy about it. As Rena Roy reports, some say the relief is not enough, and others say it's unfair.
Welcome relief for more than 40 million Americans who are facing federal student loan debt, with President Biden announcing loan forgiveness for many Wednesday.
Like a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
For decades, we have struggled with a student loan crisis that holds back our community, our economy, and crushes the dreams of millions of Americans.
Caitlin Pear is a mother of two who owes $25,000.
It's kind of been a toss-up as to what are we going to pay for, childcare or college. That stress was really starting to pile on.
Some 20 million Americans will be left with zero balance.
All this means people can finally crawl out from under that mountain of debt, to get on top of their rent and their utilities, to finally think about buying a home or starting a family or starting a business.
The move forgives up to $10,000 for people earning less than $125,000 a year, $250,000 for a couple. It forgives up to $20,000 for low-income borrowers who received Pell Grants, and the pandemic pause on student loan repayment gets extended through the end of this year.
We're targeting those who are struggling right now to help get them on their feet, and that helps everyone, because when you have less people defaulting on loans, that helps everyone's economy.
But some say it's not enough.
People who are already out, it's not really enough for them. They probably need more because of the compelling interest.
Many Republicans saying it's unfair. Senator John Thune on Fox News.
What you're saying here to a whole lot of people in this country is go ahead, take out loans, don't worry about it. We'll just write it off when the time comes.
It's unclear when this debt forgiveness program will roll out and what it will actually cost, but estimates show it could be up to $500 billion. No word on how exactly it will be paid for. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Colorado lawmakers have mixed views on this decision. Republicans are worried about what it will mean for the economy and future generations and how it will affect the value of the American dollar.
The reality is it's going to continue to drive up, I believe, inflation, which gets at the most important issue the people of Colorado care about right now.
So it does nothing to solve the long-term problem of increasing higher education costs, debt burdens on future generations, including kids in college today.
Different take, saying it's an investment in the community.
It will add to our economy and strengthen our economy and give young people the independence that they'd like to have to make more decisions that aren't always based on, geez, how does that affect my student loans?
Now, you can share your thoughts about student loan debt cancellation up on thedenverchannel.com. You can also find in-depth coverage, including a breakdown of the plan and videos with people giving their perspective on the issue. The woman charged with killing her stepson will appear in an El Paso County courtroom for a status conference this afternoon. Letitia Stauch is accused of murdering 11-year-old Gannon back in January of 2020. His body was found 2 months later in Florida.
Armed police presence often escalates rather than reduces the risk of violence in a situation.
The video about responding to racist attacks is raising alarm for some Denver South parents. It was shown to students this week. Denver 7's Jessica Crawford has a reaction from parents.
Some parents are concerned that the video drives home a negative message about police, while officers are worried that the video could put students in danger. So let's take a look back at Tuesday when this all started. Denver South High showed students a video entitled "Don't Be a Bystander: 6 Tips for Responding to Racist Attacks." The video wasn't created by the school or the district. It offered a variety of ways that students can respond to racist or otherwise prejudiced attacks. DPS says the video was not fully vetted before it was shown to students. The Denver Denver South principal posted to the school's website that the video was shown to provide empowerment for people who may witness these types of attacks. In the video, the speaker gave 6 different tips, including to not call the police unless the victim specifically requests it, due to fears the officers could make the situation worse. Some parents are concerned.
If you see something, say something. Rather, if you feel comfortable or not, you don't know what the situation is, but you also don't know what that other person is feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Are they feeling left out? Are they feeling bullied? Are they feeling hurt?
Mm-hmm.
So to not call the police because you see something is just not right.
I think that it's not appropriate, because I think we shouldn't always perceive as the police officers as a negative, They're the ones that are trained to help that kind of situation out.
The Denver Black Police Officers Organization issued a statement saying in part it's evident that the intent of sharing this video was not to drive a wedge between groups who are working towards change. However, it highlighted the need for additional conversations about marginalized communities and the police. And DPS says that its expectation is that this video will not be shown again. In Denver, I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
We just might see at least one starter play in the Broncos' final preseason game on Saturday. There's a chance KJ Hamler could take the field for a couple of series. We got a chance to see him at practice yesterday. He's recovering from ACL and hip surgery. He hasn't played in a game since September. Coach Nate Hackett says if Hamler needs the reps, he'll see some playing time on Saturday. And KJ says he's ready to go.
Yeah, I'll play. There's nothing wrong with that. It's football. I've been my first game since the injury happened. So, whatever coaches want me to do, I'll do it. I'm going to be excited if I play a little bit. I don't know how long he want me to play or if he even want me to play, but if he does, it's fine.
The Broncos-Vikings game is at 7 Saturday night. Then the Broncos' first regular season game is Monday, September 12th, Monday Night Football in Seattle. You can watch that game right here on Denver 7. Well, kids are taking the bus every day to and from school, and parents can now keep an eye on where the bus goes. Coming up, we're seeing how this new technology works and how it's designed to keep your kids safe. Plus, families are getting more help buying baby formula.